Cat scratch fever.
Oh, son of a bitch.
I know. Well, I mean, I don't know why when I posted the tweet, I was like, I don't know, I just thought of that, and then I saw your response going, "Thank you for putting that in my head." So I figured I'd sing that little opening right there.
And once again, the funny part is that that's actually the name of like
another episode.
Another episode. I'm just like,
yeah.
Yeah. You already shot your load on this one, Dave. I mean, seriously.
Whoops. What's happening, guys? We are back after having a weekend off last week. We are back with Batman the Fan-imated stream to talk some more Batman the Animated Series. And we have a good one today. The Cat and the Claw Part 1. The introduction of Catwoman. Ooh.
And technically the first episode that actually aired.
Exactly. And it's kind of funny because because we're going in production order as we do. And when you actually look at when part 2 comes out, it's not the next week. It's not the following week. It shows up like weeks later. I'm like, what?
It's so weird. Well, because I think like it came out and they would also do like those Sunday night airings. Mm-hmm. Like they would do like primetime airings. And I think that really screws around with like the, well, yeah, technically it aired on a, it aired on a weekend. It just didn't air, like the Monday, Tuesday thing. Because I still remember this was like right after Labor Day weekend in 1992 was when this thing came out. Yeah. Once again, the things I remember from being 10.
Yeah. Right.
Amazing.
Sometimes it just, especially when you watch something like this, it just like triggers and you kind of go, oh yeah. And I think probably, and when you're thinking about how this was like the first episode, kind of makes sense because it's like, well, it's Catwoman. So, of course, why wouldn't you want to put that as your first, to have Man-Bat as your first villain in the first episode might kind of, maybe, not a familiar character, might be a little too freaky because let's face it. I mean, that episode's great.
That episode's amazing,
but it's got a horror element. Yes, exactly. So
well, and also you got to remember Batman Returns had just come out 2 months before this episode aired. So like they were playing into the marketing of, we just spent the entire summer talking about Batman, the Bat, the Cat, and the Penguin.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, Mom.
Yeah. It was her birthday last night, too.
Yeah.
Hopefully she had a good time.
It's amazing to me to then also realize something I totally didn't get till I was older, who the voice of Catwoman was.
Who is it? I forgot to even look it up.
Adriana Barbeau.
Yes, that's right. Obviously, if you guys are thinking about who that is, well, there's some old,
Escape 80s movies that are...
Escape from New York, right? The Fog, Swamp Thing. Let's just face it. She had very good cleavage.
Yes,
for sure. Did. Very nice cleavage. If you go back and watch those movies, you kind of go, "Oh yeah, her."
And if you can find the it's not even allowed to be in the United States because of her contract. But if you can find the unrated version, the international version of Swamp Thing, you get everything.
Well, there you go. We got to find that one. But yes, so yeah, we got our first introduction to Catwoman when it comes to this. And I will say this: one of the things that I kind of noticed about the animation, which is great. The animation's great. First off, I mean, we have Catwoman and we got Red Claw, and I must say the way they drew the eyes. I mean, those eyes. I mean, they're very much. Both of them have like those cat kind of eyes. Of course, Selena has the green eyes and Red Claw has the blue eyes. But man, did they do a good job at the animation of the eyes for the ladies in this one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, Red Claw is also a voice you might know.
Yeah, who's that?
Kate Mulgrew.
Okay, who's that? That sounds familiar.
There's a couple of different places you might know her from. Are you much of a Trekkie? Okay. Star Trek Voyager. She was Captain Janeway.
Captain Janeway. Oh, she was like the main cap. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay, yeah. All right.
Or if you've ever watched Orange Is the New Black on Netflix,
yeah, she's in that too. Yeah,
she's the Russian.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about right now. And then another thing I noticed about the animation is, when it comes to Catwoman's costume, let's face it, you see cheeks. You see,
oh yeah, That's some Bruce Timm character design going on right there.
I'm kind of going like, I mean, especially when you're watching as a young boy, you're kind of going, hey, I mean, there's an outline of like
everything.
The distinctive butt cheeks in the costume.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a cat suit. I mean, look, there's no denying that.
She's got no cape. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I mean,
just watching it again, I was like, man, I mean, they didn't hold back to just let you know that there is some cheeks right there. But I mean, it starts off right away with her just climbing up a wall like in a Spider-Man-esque kind of fashion.
She does lots of Spider-Man-esque things in this episode.
She really does.
There's a pose later on that I'm like, I know that pose. I know that pose.
Very much a Spider-Man pose. And so she's going to be, of course, trying to get this necklace, in this building right here. And what's crazy, I mean, who's also like a very distinct character in this is Isis. We get introduced to Isis, and I tell you what, I mean, if you want to have a sidekick cat that just understands English and understands a lot of, and sleeps on your neck while you're climbing up a building. I mean, she's doing all this stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, she just wakes up Isis, and Isis, I'm like, damn, this cat can sleep.
I know, right? And then, of course, doing the whole cat eyes thing where taking in all the lights so that Isis can actually see the laser security system.
Such a good shot. I mean, first off, obviously she has the claws and she does the whole like perfect circle kind of thing. These claws they're really good. But then, when Isis gets in there and she sees the necklace and there's all the lasers, such a great shot because you have the eyes, the cat eyes, and then you see like the lasers kind of just pop in. And I thought that was just like a really good shot when I saw that.
Well, because it's such a great show, don't tell. It's like, she can now see the light. And it's just, it's very, I am going to criticize later on in this episode some of the dialogue. I don't think the script was as on point as other episodes. It's not the worst. We have definitely had.
Definitely have.
We definitely have. But this little dialogue is a little, on the nose. But the visuals, like the animation, we're not talking Spectrum Studios, like we're not talking, but it's not bottom tier either. It's like that solid, this is some good work. And they did some things. I'm like, was a great Catwoman intro. Like,
it's true. It really is.
It's a really good episode for her character. And I'm going to be honest, watching this episode, I realized I have not watched this episode in forever. Like, for some reason, this episode does not make it into that rotation of when I want to sit down and pop in an animated series episode. This one doesn't make it. And so it was kind of fun to watch it tonight with really sort of fresh eyes for our discussion.
Yeah, even like, I mean, we'll be talking about even like the Selena scenes and then, of course, the Batman and Catwoman scenes. And then, Mom, yes, my voice does sound a little deeper. I woke up a little today, like just because of probably last night, 5 hours of a vodka stream with beer.
What's 5?
I know exactly
hours when you can do 6? I mean,
but it's just so weird. Like, I think it was. I think it was the fact that we were drinking beer as well. I was drinking beer and Gentleman Jack. So I think that had ranked pretty heavily on, because when I woke up, it was even worse when I woke up. But yeah, I love how she pointed that out. I sound like
like me,
No, there's I think it was just a lot of the talking last night and the mixture of beer and Gentleman's Jack that really making my voice sound deep and sexy.
My name is Dave, and I'm a bass.
Dave. I'm a bass. She's a bass. Nobody knows. Sorry. Okay, so she gets the necklace to get out, and then of course, there's Batman who's on the rooftop, and I love his line right here because he's all, seems like our new cat burglar is a woman, and it's almost like he's going, finally, I'm sick of these dudes.
No, dude, you have to look at Batman as kind of a horn dog this entire episode. I'm just like,
oh yeah,
there's a really a lack of professionalism in the vigilante community right now. I'm just like, Batman's. I mean, seriously, you're totally not even trying to hide the fact you're flirting with her this entire
Oh yeah,
time.
we get a lot of good like Selena, a lot of Catwoman, not really Selena and Bruce, because throughout this episode, like Selena's not really into Bruce, totally into Batman, of course.
Totally. It was kind of like the Superman Clark Lois dynamic a little
bit,
right?
Yeah. And then it kind of almost reminded me a little bit of Batman Forever and Chase Meridian, how Bruce is fine, but she's totally into Batman. Yeah.
Okay,
I got a sense of that. I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of like a Chase Meridian kind of thing here. You're not so much into Bruce, really, really into Batman. But yeah, so she's there, and then he says that, and then it's kind of funny too, because when he shows up, and then of course Isis is like and that actually, fun little factoid, when it came to when I got my Batman mask, the first Batman mask I did before, you know, when I came up with casual Batman, I was living with my brother at the time.
Wait, you're casual Batman?
Yep. Oh shit! Did I just reveal my secret? Exclusive. No, but yeah. So when I got the mask, and you know, I was living with my brother, and he has 2 cats. One of the cats did not like it when I put on that mask. Like, I put it on, he looked at me and went, he's like hissed at me, and I was like, dude, it's me, it's fine, don't attack me, please, we're good, yeah. So immediately, like, that totally gave me that little flashback of my brother's cat hissing at me when I put on my my Batman mask for the first time. And yeah,
funny story. The cat that's in the garage, like 10 feet away from me, I named her Selena.
Nice. I like it. Didn't want to go with Isis, huh?
No, I honestly, because I hadn't seen this episode in a while, forgot about that.
Forgot it was Isis.
It was also okay. Funny story, tangent. When we got the cat, we thought it was a boy cat, so I named it one name. Took it in for its first appointment. And they're like, I hate to tell you, it's a girl, not a boy.
Yeah, it's not as easy as dogs.
It's not as easy as dogs.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there in the doctor's office, and like on the spot, I have to rename the cat.
Nice.
And I just went Selena.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, you got your Batman brain, of course. That probably where I'd go as well. It'd be either Selena or even Isis. Yeah. So, but yeah, that was just that was immediately the first thing I remembered. I was, oh yeah, because it's funny too, because both of those cats is I mean, they've had those cats for I don't know how long. My nephew was really young, and of course, naturally, they named both cats Luke and Anakin. So, Luke was the fluffier cat.
The nerd runs strong in your family.
It really does. Yeah, even the cats have distinctive nerdy names. Luke and Anakin, and it was Luke who was the fluffier one, always the funner. He was like the best. I said funner.
Always the more fluffer. I was like, what's going on here?
Always the fluffer. Yeah, I know. Where are we going with this one? This is a tangent that's crazy, talking about our cats in our lives. But he was always the one that was the most cuddly and blah, blah, blah. So it was just funny how when I put on the Batman mask, he was totally like, dude, like, what is this demon? You know? And I always would. It was funny too, because anytime that I would put that mask on, if I was going to do something when I was still living there, I would always have to be like, hey man, just letting you know, it's me. And then I'd put it on slowly and he'd be fine. I had to like ease it in, because I was always, for some reason, I don't know. It seems like when you always see like a cat attack, there's just something very freaky about that.
No. Cats.
Dude,
cats mean business.
I think I've always loved that George Carlin bit when he says, he goes, it was a funny bit where he says, if you were to take like, you know, a baby, a puppy, and a kitten, like, you know, newly born, you know, of all three in those, and you were to attack, and he goes, well, first off, try not to do that. Don't attack these three. But if you were to attack all three, the baby would cry, the puppy would just cower, but the cat would fight back. I mean, it's only been a day old, and he's already starting to try to start some shit. They will attack, and it's like, yeah, that is very true.
That's very true.
Yes, cats are just they could be little assholes sometimes, man, and they scratch.
They
Ooh, man,
geez, and it hurts.
Yeah, yeah, and then when they lick you, that's a weird dog lick. Feels like so weird. So weird. Okay, this has been our cat portion of this episode. This was great. We knew it was going to happen because, yeah, obviously it's a Catwoman episode. So, anyways, Catwoman like kind of leaps off the man. Catwoman again, she is very Spider-Man-esque because she just totally does, just leaps off the building, just total free fall, and then you're kind of going, wow, what is she gonna do here? And then she just pulls out that whip and just finds
where did that whip come from?
Who knows?
There is no room for it.
Her belt is just for style.
And don't you just love how it just like kind of like it's just so jaunty? It just kind of like it rides the hips like just so. And
so it's like, where was this? And of course, Isis is just attached to her too. But she gets that whip and then finds like a flagpole or whatever those things, and just quickly finds that. And then of course there's like a little bit of a chase that happens. Batman and then Batman like gets kind of ahead of her, and then there's like that like nice little exchange like drop in any time.
Oh, I'm like, because she like totally gets on the roof and he's already there waiting on her.
Exactly.
And doing the great thing the animated series does, where it's just like he just black little blue outline, like the shadow
with the eyes.
Yes.
That's all you see. But then I even wrote right here, the flirtation begins, because it really, I mean, and then they start doing the whole racing thing, like on rooftops and blah, 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 just doing this, just jumping from rooftop to rooftop. And then it's kind of funny too, because then when it comes to the part where they actually fight, she literally yells out, "Hi-ya!" to give
I'm
a nice
sorry,
little
I kind of chuckled.
Oh yeah, I chuckled too. I was like, I was like, as I was writing, I was like, rooftops, and then all of a sudden I look over and she just goes, "Hi-ya!" and I went, "Whoa!" She just really give a hi-ya? Dang, crazy.
Oh god.
Hey, whatever works. Whatever works.
Right.
I mean, I took one year of karate, and they do say when you yell out something like that, it does add to the power of it. She needed all the power she needed in that kick, because it's Batman for shit's sake. And then she scratches his cape. I love that. And he goes, "Hey."
I know. I was like, seriously? I mean, I was a little taken back. I was like, you're the GD Batman. I mean,
I know, man. It's like, how many costumes do you go through? I mean, there's been times where you've literally like had to like use your cape for other things to distract and get shot up by Tommy guns and stuff like that, man. I think it'll be all right. I think you got enough capes, but it was just kind of funny. Hey. and then he says like a nice little line like, "I'm gonna have to try to trim those claws." Come on.
And those are the kind of
that's
lines.
on the nose.
That's a little, it's a little on the nose. And I'm like, excuse me, but there was just a little bit of me with some of this dialogue that's like, Batman, respect the female. She could kick your ass. It was a little like he was talking down to her. That was some of the, I was actually surprised. I was like, I don't remember him being this condescending in the series. And maybe it's just like these early episodes, because once again, you look at the writers, you're like, these are names I've never seen. Like, these are people did not stick around in the writer's room for the rest of the series, because I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting. I'm when it comes to the whole Batman and Catwoman dynamic, it's going to be interesting to see how Matt Reeves handles that in his Batman movie. I'm really looking forward to seeing that, because all we've had cinematically was, of course, Batman Returns. And I mean, there is a lot of things.
Dark Knight Rises.
Oh, that's true. Duh. Totally.
Because we get Anne Hathaway, who is currently.
Jeez. Totally forgot about that.
Yeah, I am.
Oh yeah. She was great.
I love Anne Hathaway.
She did a fantastic job. But I kept more thinking about Batman Returns when I was watching this episode, when they would have their exchange. Yes. Yeah, because it was right there. And then it's just like, even when she like fools him, he goes, "How could you? I'm a woman." He's like, going back to like, it's like, how do you handle this, where it's like, now I'm fighting a woman who can kick my ass. How do I treat this? Do I punch her? What do I do? And I love how like in Deadpool, he actually makes fun of that. It's like, is it more sexist if I hit you? Is it more sexist if I don't?
It's one of my favorite jokes in the movie. Because it's so
it's so the line's blurry. Yeah, so it's like that's the conundrum that Batman has, and not to mention he's attracted to her naturally. So
The
it's like,
sexual, like I literally wrote my notes, sexual tension. I'm like, dude,
yeah,
this is an
definitely is.
after-school cartoon, and you are like having such the hots
Yes.
for this woman the entire time.
But at the same time, a young Dave was probably going, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the pretty green eyes and the distinctive butt crack.
Well, which is interesting. Something I'm jumping a little ahead,
That's
but I
fine.
think it's interesting they gave her green eyes but
Mhm.
blonde hair. That's not a combination that
It's a
you're
weird
like.
combination.
It's a weird combination, which made me wonder if they made Selena blonde to match up with Pfeiffer.
Could be. You know what? You're probably right, because mainly Selena's always had dark hair in like the comic books and stuff, right? Yeah.
Yes,
Mainly. She's never really been blonde.
Normally she's been black hair, and basically since Frank Miller did Year One,
Yeah,
she's
short.
always had a really sort of a pixie cut going on.
Yeah. Been short. So yeah, I know. And so I think they probably, I'm guessing, like, again, because this is right after Batman Returns came out, it's like, yeah, try to match her to Pfeiffer as much as possible. And let's face it, Michelle Pfeiffer has those eyes.
Oh, God,
these eyes. Yeah.
To this day, Michelle Pfeiffer is still my wife's favorite Catwoman. Like she has very distinct memories of Batman Returns, and like she really latched onto Pfeiffer's Catwoman.
Man, and I'm kind of wondering, like, is she gonna make appearance in the Flash movie? That would be pretty cool. I think they would, and she's down too. I think she's tweeted, or I don't know.
She has. Oh, she also, like, I'm sorry, Pfeiffer still has got the skills where she takes out that whip and she can still do that stuff. I'm like,
she's still got the skills, and she is still gorgeous. She is still gorgeous. She has aged very well. I mean, I saw her in Ant-Man 2, and Ant-Man 2, I mean, come on. She, man, still has it. Yeah. Anyways, back to the show. So Batman,
that's very on point for like what happens in this episode. I feel like all this has been very on point conversation.
Oh yeah, I figured, I was like, we're gonna be going on tangents about Batman Returns, about all kinds of stuff. So then she, I think I missed it when I was like taking notes, but trash cans fall on. She gets the word trash cans fall on Batman.
Yes.
And so basically trapping him and blah, blah, blah. And then she gets away. But then Isis, and it's like, okay, so Isis, very clever, can do a lot of things. But when a car comes, freezes. It's like, man, come on, Isis, you're so sharp. But then, of course, Batman rescues Isis from the car, from the inevitable roadkill that she might turn into.
And also Batman being very gentle and petty.
Oh, yeah.
And Isis is kind of enjoying it until, Selena has to ruin the moment by blowing the stupid, like, cat whistle.
I love what he says, like, left you behind, huh? You know? It was almost like he was still flirting, but through the cat.
Yeah.
It was almost like he was like, oh, yeah, he left you behind. So that means I'm going to find a way to, like, find her again, almost.
And like, there's a really inappropriate joke that I'm making in my head right now that I'm not going to say out loud. But
I think I know where you're going.
No, exactly. That's the point.
Where you're going with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's, we won't have
to move along. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so... yeah, she has like a little cat whistle, and then Isis, of course, sense it, and then goes up like a rain drain pipe thing. I'm like,
spout.
Wow. Little spout. I'm like, all right, cool, that's fine. And then of course, Catwoman blows a kiss, and let's see. Oh yeah, and then Batman, I guess, got little. I think that's Isis hair.
Yeah,
right?
little hair. Because dude, cats. Seriously, hair everywhere.
I know. Yeah, trust me. Like I said, when I live with my brother, those cats, geez, constantly you have to have one of those lint rollers at all times. All times. So then, and then I love how Batman just goes. He whistles, the way that he whistles. Yeah.
He always needs to be like have like a cowboy hat or baseball cap, because he need to be going kind of like tilting it by going.
Yeah.
That's a big gopher.
Yeah. It's a big gopher. So then he's like, he's pretty impressed, and he's just like, Batman's just kind of going, yeah, I mean, this is a nice little change of pace. I mean, right from the beginning, it's just, he is like kind of awestruck about like, wow, I've been dealing with with these dudes that are just shooting at me most of the time, or throwing some crazy Joker bombs, or laughing gas, or a lot of gas. He's been dealing with a lot of gas. Yeah. So now he's got this woman who, well, it's just all acrobatic and stuff, and he's very impressed. I think that's what they were kind of going for right there. A little bit of, like he's stunned and just kind of falling in love with her. But yeah, that whistle was kind of like, well, this is different. This is definitely different. And then, of course, he has some of that hair right there. And then we immediately cut to Bruce being auctioned off.
Okay, now this was interesting because I'm watching this episode, remembering that it's the first episode that airs, and the way they kind of dramatically reveal Bruce Wayne in the crowd, it does feel like what a first episode would do is we meet Batman. Now let's meet Bruce Wayne. So it's really weird to realize this wasn't the first episode made. It's literally the 15th episode in production, but it's got these moments that do feel like
an introduction
episode.
Yeah, because they're like, where's Bruce Wayne? Where's he at? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he just appears. And it's kind of interesting that I was looking at the animation choice. It was like when people are in the shadows, they're blue. It was like some of these girls were like blue, but then you saw when it's it is a good introduction too, because he's literally walking through all these ladies and they're all like, oh my God, Bruce, I've been sitting, they're all just like, just totally fawning over him and just big time. And it's just kind of, you're right. I didn't think about that. I didn't consider that this was the first kind of introduction when we actually watched. So they're actually really representing that. Hey, Bruce is a playboy. Like, women love this man. Not only is he rich, but he's good looking, tall, dark, and handsome, So
he just like suave as fuck. I mean, totally. Because he's even standing up there like on the stage, like he's got his jacket, he's got the cummerbund, and he's just like, hi. He even like adjusts his bow tie at one point. It's just like, dude, you a player and you know it.
I know, but he's just trying to be like, just be coy about it, like, whatever, just this is all for a good cause. That's all it is. But there's a chance he might get laid. Anyways, so he's getting auctioned off, and then obviously they're all yelling out the whole thing. We've seen, it's a cliche thing we've seen in a lot of stuff where they just start, and then all of a sudden the mystery woman in the background just, it's Selena, of course.
Just like blows everyone's auction out of the water.
$10,000 she pays for that. And then, of course, everybody's stunned. Even Bruce is like, what? He's completely stunned. I mean, this is, again, as Batman, he was stunned by Catwoman, and now he's stunned by of course Selena, who's just obviously back there looking all gorgeous and everything like that with her green eyes and her blonde hair. Now we see everything, and completely stunned. But then it's funny because there's like that one douche that where he's he's walking up and he's all, I hear she's a wildlife nut.
Wait, don't you love how he's got like like the little English mustache? Oh, I hear she's better for one.
You're not gonna face Bruce Wayne. Come on, man. He's totally like drawn in by her. And then of course when he walks up, she's got a secretary. This is where we meet Maven. Interesting name.
Yes, and I was curious because when I did not remember her being in the comics, so I double checked. She's a character
that was created for the series.
It was created for the series, but I got feelings of Holly.
Okay.
Do you remember Holly?
Yeah.
Yeah. I felt like maybe that was a relation, like they were giving her as sort of that confidant, like because Holly was in year one, and then they gave her they put Holly in Dark Knight Rises.
Yeah.
So I felt like that was it, because when you look her up, she's just listed as Selena's secretary.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird why didn't they go with that, especially with that character being in year one. I'm surprised I actually didn't, but whatever. Maven, interesting name. I was like, I remember the character, but I was like, I don't remember the name. So Maven, good. So then it's funny because Selena, again, not having it, she did it strictly to donate to the wildlife reserve.
Yes.
But then Bruce is like, hey, and like grabs her arm.
That was a little I
was like, dude, Bruce, easy. I mean, but then at the same time, I started thinking about BVS when he did that with Diana, and I'm like, it's a Bruce Wayne thing, kind of thing. Like, hey,
it's kind of a Bruce Wayne thing. But watch it, you might lose that arm.
Yeah, exactly. He tends to do that with very strong women. Yes. Easy there, Bruce. Easy there. And then it's funny because then when she like kind of like looks like, what? And then he blushes. Hell? He blushes. Totally gets flustered. Like you see, like ha, and it's like Bruce is totally out of his element because any one of the other girls that bit on him, he'd be like,
oh, they
whatever.
were throwing themselves at her.
And
She's
this
just
one,
like,
Selena wants nothing to do with him. Nothing to do with him. So that's what's so great about this dynamic is the fact that he could have any woman in the room, and then the one that, you know, pays up and probably the most beautiful one in the room wants nothing to do with him. Nothing. I love it.
okay, so I have a question, and I'm kind of curious where you land on this. I find the characterization of Catwoman in the animated series very interesting because I'm trying to figure out, is she well-to-do because she stole? Was she well-to-do and the stealing is just kind of like a thrill-seeking hobby of hers? Because they don't introduce Catwoman as a straight-up villain. She's more of an anti-hero type.
Oh, yeah.
In this episode, because, you know, they give her the environmentalists and the wildlife animal rights, you know, motivation. And she seems to be like, she's known. She's like a debutante. She has a secretary.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of curious, where's your headcanon
I think
with where she is? I didn't even think to look up the character Bible to see what the writer said.
I'm pretty much in line with what you're saying because she's very much an anti-hero because and I mean, I think Catwoman's always been kind of like that. I mean, that's her character altogether. It's like, she robs. So obviously Batman's got to stop that because she is breaking the law. But at the same time, she's almost doing it for a good cause. And she's almost doing it I think she's doing it to satisfy that adrenaline. She's a little bit of an adrenaline junkie or something because, I mean, just look at what she does when she does her acrobatic stuff and does the whole just leaping off building. She's enjoying herself. Like that first game.
It's freedom.
Yes. She's totally enjoying herself. But at the same time, she's trying to use a lot of that for good because obviously she's stealing, you know, jewels and stuff like that and has all this going for her, but she's using that because she paid $10,000, but it was for a good cause, you know? So very complicated character, but I'm kind of in line with that. Yeah. Anti-hero does like the thrill of what's going on, but she's doing it. She has like a good cause behind her, you know, behind all of it. I think very much so.
Cool. I just was kind of curious, and actually, the entire time you're talking, I was so glad you went off because I am actually scanning through the Writer's Bible right now because
that's good.
I'm going to try to figure. Really, just kind of a darling of the jet set. Selena is apparently independently wealthy. No one knows that she's. Okay, here we go. Growing up poor on Gotham streets, Selena was forced to steal to live. By the time she was a young woman, she became the city's most accomplished cat burglar and adopted the cat-like disguise. So, all right. So, so they are saying that she was born poor, stole, and so her ability to be a independently wealthy woman now is based on growing up through her life of stealing. Okay, that jives with me.
I mean, again, another great introduction to a great character, a great villain, because it's never, you know, she's never, even though like, again, and that's what we've always loved about the dynamic between them two is the fact that Bruce is, you know, he falls in love with her, you know, obviously there's this relationship, but at the same time, it's like, I still have to hold up my side of the whole thing where it's like, you're still stealing. I still got to, it's even mentioned in here. And I think that's one of the clips that I have is when he kind of mentions that it's like, what's between them is the law. So as Bruce starts blushing, all of a sudden we hear, of course, machine gun fire or Tommy gun fire outside and something's happening. And then everybody's hearing it. And then, of course, Bruce does his disappearing act where he just vanishes. And we already know where he's going. So we see this chase sequence happening. And I find it kind of funny, too, because when you see the truck and it says U.S. Army on it, and it says, and then it's all these Tommy guns. I'm like, did the U.S. really use Tommy guns?
Actually, yes.
Did they? Okay, so they did. At one point, okay.
That was actually what the Tommy guns were.
For
you just typically didn't have the the drum magazines.
Yeah,
you would have, because this is actually what I've actually fired a Tommy gun before.
Have you?
And yeah, it's
Oh,
Dang.
I'm sure. God damn.
I know, right? But what you would typically military wise, you'd have basically like the long magazine that you just
Yeah.
click in. You wouldn't have the drum because
Drum. Okay.
the drum, the reason you use the drum is because just the amount of rounds that the
Yeah.
drum holds. But yeah, so a Thompson machine gun, yes, it was developed for the military. So
Okay.
that jives. You just you're just used to seeing them with like
Yeah,
gangsters and fedoras.
exactly. It's like, and then when you watch like you're thinking like, oh, weren't they using something else? But yeah, no, that totally makes sense. So then of course Batman jumps on the truck, and man, tell you what, Batman's got some balls with this sequence right here, because I mean, he like reaches in and grabs the wheel and he starts trying like jerking it and stuff like that. And it's just like, holy crap. And then the guy, grabs the wheel too. And then he's trying to like get Batman off the truck. And then Batman just uses like the batarang and rope, and he just totally yanks it, causing it to, and then he leaps off of fun. But I'm like, dude, like, you're just like, you're going to kill these guys.
Oh, and talk about the collateral damage of all the cars that truck ends up running into. And I'm like, hope you have good freaking insurance.
Good coverage right there. It's okay. I think maybe Bruce Wayne checks on those. He takes down all the license plates.
The license plate numbers? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then he pays for all the damage. That's what it is. It's just like when Snyder said, those guys are fine. Those guys are fine. Those guys are fine. They're fine. It's fine. They're fine. And then I love the fact that they're going to escape like in a sewer, and the sewer has like the big, huge letters that says sewer. And I laughed at that. It was just one of those, I get it, but I just laughed because, in my field, in my profession, when it comes to manholes, there's telecom manholes, there's sewer manholes, there's all different kind of manholes. And, usually it's just really small on the lid, like in the very center, if you look at it, but it was just so huge that it just stood out to me. And I got to laugh at that. So I had to point that out.
But I still love when Gordon shows up later and like with the cops, and then I just love how he just kind of walks to the side of the road. And there is something I always love about Gordon out in the middle of nowhere, and he just walks up and he's just talking with Batman behind him, and he's not trying to go around to look. He's just like,
the fact that he knows where Batman is. There's like that connection that they have, because he very much turns his back into an alley and then just starts talking, and then Batman just kind of peeks out of like behind a dumpster, and it's just like, and Gordon starts talking about the Red Claw, and it's like, the terrorist group and blah blah blah. It starts giving him information, and then Batman just leaves, and it's just, I like that dynamic, and it was like a cool shot too, because he's literally just back to the alley, and he just starts talking, and you just see right behind him, and it's like, they have that connection. It's great how they show that throughout
Gordon
the show.
is so dope when he does that. Like, it's just like, yes, man. I prefer that kind of meeting over I've turned on the bat signal and you've shown up. I really do just like we're meeting in the alley right next to the crime scene, and I'm totally just giving you the down low. Like that, exactly. I always love that dynamic for the two of those characters.
Totally agree. And then so then we get back to where Selena and Maven are, and let's see. We get back to, this is at her apartment, I believe, right?
Yes, at the apartment penthouse. Like,
yes,
she's got a nice place.
I know. It's like, and he's like, you might want to be, because this goes back to like the Spider-Man thing too, where it's like, it kind of reminds you of like Spider-Man, of him just showing up back to this party. But at the same time, it's like she has this penthouse, and it's like, you might want to be careful if you want to keep that identity secret. I
mean, because how much glass? like
yeah.
Well, and that comes into play at the end of the episode.
Of course it does. Yes.
I'm just like, dude, you got windows everywhere.
Yeah. It's like, you might want to be a little more, I don't know, get some tint, it's something maybe that, where people can't just start peeking in there, because you are going to show up in Catwoman gear, and then all of a sudden take it all off. But so then of course she's talking about the date with Bruce, because Selena is getting ready for that date, but Selena is all swooning over Batman, just big time.
Oh god, that she's got a woman boner.
Much big time woman boner. Totally not interested in Bruce. And then it's funny because when Bruce shows up, she's just like, I wish it was Batman behind this door. And it's like,
Oh
okay,
yeah,
well, yeah, very that. Yes, yes,
yeah,
very.
yeah.
That's what you were talking about when it came to very on the
Very,
nose.
very, very on the nose. Yes.
So Bruce is there, of course, in his brown and yellow combination suit as he wears. And then all of a sudden, Maven gets like a call from Selena's lawyer about, certain things that are being taken care of by a company called Multigon International, which has to do with, of course, they're trying to create like a resort. There's wildlife, of course, wild cats and stuff like that. So obviously it's near and dear to her. So she gets angry. And then this is where Bruce just goes, who would I need to call? Yeah, she basically just was like, do you know this? And then he just goes up to the phone. He's like, when is a good day for you? And then it's like, that's where Selena kind of starts going, huh, all right, well, maybe this guy is going to be useful, Because I think even Maven earlier said, like, well, he's tall, dark, and has a lot lot She didn't say handsome.
No, she's a tall, dark, and ridiculously wealthy. I think
there it is. Yeah.
Yes. It's
so
like, Maven knows what's up. I'm just saying.
It's like she's really selling Bruce to Selena, even though Selena's all about Batman, which kind of goes back to the whole thing. It's like, even though she's in it for this and could use like the resource, the thrill of being out there, and then all of a sudden there's somebody else out there that's dressed like another creature of the night, and it totally just gets her gears going. Like her,
exactly.
Yeah. So she's just it goes into that adrenaline junkie side of her, because now all of a sudden she's got something more to add to it. Somebody else that matches her caliber of rooftop jumping and leaping off things and blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. So, and this episode really does establish a good, the relationship between both Batman and Catwoman, and then of course, Selena and Bruce, which, man, this is a really good episode. I tell you what.
I know, right? And like, it's so succinct. Like we've got an idea of their relationship. Like we're not even done with the episode. Like we're maybe 2/3 through the episode at this point. And it's like, this is just, it's solid. Like once again,
very
like
solid. Yeah,
it's so good. I mean, like I said, the dialogue can be a little on the nose.
Yeah,
but otherwise, it's doing good work.
Yeah. And so then they meet up with this dude. I forgot what was his name again.
Oh God, what was his name?
I think I thought Stern. Yeah, his name is Stern. So they're meeting up with him, and then he, and it's kind of funny too, because he has like a little piano thing that he plays, like a Beethoven little song that brings up all the secret little,
it was Ode to Joy. It was
Ode to Joy. There you go. Yeah, and he's showing, and of course Selena's not having it because he's showing the resort and everything, and she's just getting pissed off as all hell. Bruce is just standing there. He's just going, I don't even know, and he's just kind of just taking it all in.
I was a middleman. I bring people together. It's just like
he did that to help her out, hopefully to impress her, obviously. Yeah. And so he just kind of keeps his mouth shut when it comes to this whole thing. And Selena, obviously she wants not to happen. And then let's see, and Bruce just immediately goes to it, and they leave, and then all of a sudden we get introduced to Red Claw. Which obviously, it's kind of cool because at first, even again, what this episode kind of represents is the fact that Batman is like, hey, I'm finally dealing with a woman this time. And when they talk about Red Claw first, they refer to Red Claw as he,
Right. There's some assumptions being made here.
Exactly.
About who Red Claw is.
Exactly. And it turns out, it's a woman who is very well built, by the way.
Oh, man. Like a brick, what?
Yes.
Yes,
very much, with a nice little tattoo of a claw, of course, on her.
And you got the nice little rogue streak going through the
the hair. Yes, that's true. Nice little add, to it. Not, obviously with the blue eyes that I mentioned. And then, so then when we're back outside and they're getting in the car, like Selena's she's done. She's like, I want the night to come because I'm gonna break into this motherfucker's, she just wants to break into the office and see what the hell he's hiding, and it's funny too, because again, more stuff on the nose, because first off, they cancel their lunch date, and then she's like, there's something I have work to do tonight, and then he goes like, me too, he kind of does like a whole talking to himself thing too, where he's like, yeah, I want to do something, and because they're both talking about, we want to get in our costumes and freaking scale rooftops and shit,
I'm gonna be working late tonight myself.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. Yeah. Well, maybe not so on the nose, but it's funny. They both, yeah, I even wrote that. I'm like, they both do that Batman and Catwoman thing. And it's just like, because it's very much like we know, like the audience knows, they don't know. And it's just kind of
just
funny.
A dramatic irony of just going, we know what they're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. And then what Batman does, he decides to just crash a random mob meeting.
I know. It's
I was like, I stopped and I'm like, oh, who are these guys? I'm like, is this the cast of fucking Dick Tracy going on here? What's going on? Like, what are they doing?
It's not really.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. It's like, even the way they're drawn, it's like, I just need them to be a little bit brighter colored suits. And, it would work. I mean,
yeah. He just like swoops down and is like, I need answers. And then they're like, I don't know nothing. And then I love the fact that he's just like, well, you're still scum. So you have to know something.
And then what things that I don't.
Exactly. And then what I like about it, they do a long shot of how the guy's feet are just dangling. Yeah. There's like 5 seconds of just that. And I'm just kind of going, man, they're really emphasizing how short this guy is and how he's like Batman is just like holding him up by his collar and or his jacket and just has him up. And it's like, I should have counted how many seconds they showed that shot, but I thought that was kind of cool. That he was just kind of, like, again, it was just like a good representation of like Batman is just totally just, hey, he's crashing this party to get some freaking answers, man.
And I love it. He was like, and if you thought I leaned on you hard before, just wait.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah. Yes. Totally threatens just 100. It's a good scene. It's random, but it's
random.
Great.
It is random.
Yes.
But once again, if you put on your perspective glasses and go, first episode aired.
Yes. You're like, yeah, true.
It's like, wow. Like, it seems weird for us in episode 15.
Yeah, it really does.
But if you then think, but what if if this is your first time watching the entire series, once again, you're getting these weird kind of introductory beats. It's like, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Batman, Bruce Wayne, Batman shaking down the mob. Like it works weirdly well.
It really does. Yeah. And yeah, I should have watched it with thinking that. I didn't think that when I was watching it. So yeah. So if you're watching this episode, think of it like that. And it does totally make sense of how they're showing like what Batman does, and the introduction of all of it. Yeah, it really does. So then we go to Stern's, we got Stern showing up where first we got Catwoman breaking into Stern's office. Obviously, we knew she was going to do that. She, of course, has those claws that could just cut through so much.
Everything.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. So we do that, and Stern, of course, like goes into like the next room where Red Claw is talking about her plan and everything. And I love it when they have that, obviously the projection, and she's like explaining. I know it's just kind of funny. I'm like, get off the map. We can't see. She's like,
but is that cool? The animation thought about the fact that if you're projecting something, it's going to project on you.
Yes. I thought that, it made me go like, well, step away off that. And then I went, yeah, it is the animation was that detailed where it had like something like that, where it was reflecting off of her. Again, props to the animation when it comes to this. And then of course, when all that happened, Catwoman, of course, remembers the Beethoven, code for that little the key, the piano keys right there, and then everything starts opening up. But then of course it's like there's cameras naturally. Why wouldn't there be cameras in here? Like, come on, Selena. Yeah. So then obviously everything goes off and they see like there's literally there's like a whole wall of screens that you see Selena in all different forms, and then of course they storm the office, but Selena, being swifty as she is, she goes up into the ventilation system and gets away.
She's
and then
the ventilation. Like, thank you, Red Claw, for telling us what you showed us. That
she did very much a villainy thing where it's like, you got to tell us where. You're like, where did Selena go? Well, she went up into the ventilation system. Yes, and I love the fact that there's like one of her goons like goes up there and doesn't see the cat spikes.
Oh god, yeah. And by the way, that looked so painful.
Yes, it does. Yeah, because he's just like, he's on it, and then and then it's just like on his arm, and then he finally sees the rest of them. It's like, yeah, dude, they're shiny little. Well, I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. It's probably dark in there. I get that, but yeah, that had to hurt. Ouch.
Dang, because he had like 2 or 3 of them on each arm. It's like, ow.
Yeah.
Because I also want to be the person who's like, okay, we can make fun of how Batman has all the bat themed gadgets.
Yeah.
Let's take a moment.
Yeah.
To just wink and nod. And then Catwoman bothered to have little perfectly like little cat sculptures. Like,
exactly. And again, where did she have those on her? And there's a lot of them too, by the way. I mean, like when he like finds like the couple of them, then all of a sudden he looks forward and they're like just scattered. And I'm going, maybe ISIS has like a little bag attached to or something like that.
Dude, I'm just again. Is the belt actually got like pouches or something?
Maybe.
Like,
I mean, I'm guessing because it it's split up in little ovals around her waist. Maybe there's little compartments. Could be. I don't know. But and then of course they get to an elevator shaft, and she goes up, and then we have this whole thing that happens on the roof. And this is actually the clip because, obviously, again, and we haven't even mentioned, of course, Shirley Walker's score. It's great.
We will never get through an episode without talking about Shirley Walker.
Yeah, it's even right at the beginning, too, because you get that, Catwoman has her very own theme, too. So you get that right at the beginning, and maybe it's not as distinct as some of the other ones.
I think that's the reason it actually kind of went past me.
Yeah.
Because
there's a little bit.
It's not as distinct. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely not as distinct, but you can hear it when you first open it up, and it's funny too because you're gonna laugh like how I have it paused right now when she leaps onto the other rooftop and how she. I mean,
of course you would. Yeah.
It was not planned, but hey, I mean that just kind of
BS. I'm calling BS on that day. Yeah, that was totally planned.
Okay, so when I paused it, I did laugh, and I went, I'm just gonna leave it right there because I mean. Distinctive cheekage going on right there.
Look at the shadows too.
I mean, like really good.
I mean, Peach. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Peach. So this is where it's a pretty cool scene because this is where Batman, pretty much saves her ass and we get some more flirtation and we get the first kiss.
ISIS, jump.
That score, man.
Oh yeah, there we go. The did. Dang, Greg Claw's got some.
Seriously, right?
Oh my god, like that was like a grenade launcher.
Then you get this ring, and then you get the Batman theme. My hero, and then she's just like, "Oh, give me some of that," and he's like, "What?" His tights got a little tighter.
That was for saving my cat.
Is that all it was for?
Oh, geez.
Maybe not.
I heard gunfire.
Occupational hazard.
I like that. And then he tries to unmask her.
I'm like, dude, honestly, personal boundaries.
Right?
Police will.
Police? Don't be silly. You can't deny there's something between us.
You're right. And I'm afraid it's the law.
The law.
So cheesy.
God. Dude.
And then he's like, damn it, I messed that one up.
I'm sorry.
And then she's like, all right.
Why are you apologizing? Why are you apologizing, Batman? Oh, dude, how did he not just dislocate his shoulder when he grabbed that edge?
Grip strength, man. It's all about that grip strength.
Spider-Man, right there.
Yeah, right there. That's what it was right there, huh? That right there. Total Spider-Man.
Total Spider-Man right there.
Oh, man. See, now it's just, that was a good exchange. Kind of, a little reminiscent of Batman Returns too, where like, there's that whole like kind of exchange. Like he doesn't know exactly what to say. And then she just ends up just kicking his ass somehow. She just threw him right over that ledge. But yeah, he should have very much, but hey, Batman, he's got that good grip strength. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So he grabbed that ledge and he was perfectly fine. I just like the fact that he totally was just like, let me just unmask you without even
now. Like you totally just made out with me. Let me let my next thing be try to pull your mask off.
It's like, dude, bro, man.
No.
Let's just relax a little bit there. So good. And then another thing that I found. Okay, so then we're getting to the end of the episode. I was funny too because I went, man, how long is it? Oh yeah, that's right, 2 parts. Duh, because we haven't gotten to the resolution of all this thing yet.
Nowhere near the resolution.
Nowhere near. And then she gets back to her place, and again, like we said, you have this big penthouse with a lot of windows. So obviously someone from Red Claw's crew or Stern or whatever, probably, no, Red Claw was, totally staking her place out, and then sees her show up as Catwoman. And I love the fact that when she takes off her mask, she's wearing earrings.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if she would actually. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, you probably would take those off if you put on a mask.
just a thought. I mean, it's not like I have a wife. Like I know what you do and you don't do. No, man, most of them, like as soon as you get home, it's like, oh God, these things hurt like hell.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, really? The earrings? You couldn't? I mean, I get it. You have your templates for characters and stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't have that many models.
Yeah,
so like, yeah.
But it was like the first thing I saw. I was like, man, she's got her earrings are still on. Interesting. But yeah, the little goon was like staking at her place, and then he basically, it's a nice little cliffhanger where he's like, but who's gonna save you? I forgot what was the line before that?
I swear I've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. Yeah. I do ever know that I've seen that model before. Like I feel like that goon.
Yeah,
I've seen that goon. Like that goon has shown up. Like he's been another goon. Like
of course. Yeah.
But you want to know what else I thought about, which is so funny because we're talking about retroactively going back in this episode.
Yeah.
This is almost totally how that. I think it's part 1 of World's Finest from Superman the Animated Series ends when Batman's peeking into Superman's apartment. I'm like, okay, I've seen the trick before. You guys reuse this one later. Okay.
Yeah. They probably did because it was like almost like the same thing. It's like, oh yeah, you see the big binoculars and everything, and then it's just like, and then somebody has So then it ends right there, and it's kind of like, it kind of gave me goosebumps a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. It was like, oh yeah, that's right, because I totally forgot.
It was a two-parter.
A two-parter, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good clip. And it just kind of gave me goosebumps as I was writing. I went, oh yeah, to be continued, and I kind of went, ooh, that's kind of cool. And it gave me a little bit of goosebumps. And I went, yeah, that's right.
There's something about this Batman the Animated Series font that the to be continued always looked really cool, because they would do the dramatic thing every time. The music would swell, it would go to black, and then to be continued would pop up on the black screen. And I feel like they do that on, they didn't do a lot of two-parters, but when they did do two-parters, I feel like they did it the same way every time. Music swells, fade to black, to be continued appears on the screen, and then cut to credits.
And no. It's a good little cliffhanger. Like I said, there's not too many of them, but when they do it very well when it comes to that. So there you go, guys. That is the Cat in the Claw Part 1, and of course next week we'll be talking about Part 2, which I remember. If I can't remember, meow. No, I think I remember. I don't know if it was that episode that I had a drop one of these times. Maybe I'll have to try to look and see if I still have that drop and bring it back for next week. I think it might, because Red Claw shows up another time, right?
Lion and the Unicorn, which in production order was the final episode of the original run of Batman the Animated Series.
There it is. Interesting. Yeah, because I was like, I think we talked about how she does end up making like another an appearance here. And but we're of course going to get the resolution. I'm like starting to draw a blank on what actually happens at the end of, because when I was watching this, naturally everything was coming back to me like, oh yeah, this and this. But I'm totally drawing a blank of what Part 2 is fully on about. Yeah.
I've got, I think there's a train.
Yeah. Okay. So that's for the drop that I had.
Okay. There we go.
It was something that Batman said, and it was just like cracked me up. Like it was, I'll find it. I'll save it for next week because it's a very funny line. It was like when I remember, I think it was a while back, I had the drop because I was, I had it on in the background, and when that episode was playing, and just his line that he said to Red Claw, I was like, did he just say that? So I had it as a drop because it sounded funny. So I'll save that for next week. That'll be fun. Anything else to add to this episode, Scott?
I don't think so. That was really fun, even with all the tangents. Like,
exactly.
like I said, it's a solid episode. It is.
Totally
it is.
one of the top 10, maybe.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I go top 10
Mm.
because, like I said, it's a solid episode, but for some reason doesn't really make it into my. I'm going to pop in an episode of Batman the Animated Series rotation, and I don't know why, because I was watching it going, that's a good episode.
I don't know.
I'm enjoying it, but
Yeah.
it just but I think I like that because that means that when we have these discussions, I'm going to have some fresher eyes on some of these episodes where we're going to get to some. It's like, I don't even have to watch the episode. I could totally just talk for an hour based solely on memory at this point. I've seen this episode so many times.
Right. Now, I think after watching it again, I'm going and just can I get in that chill at the end of like, oh yeah, cliffhanger and just talking about the dynamic between both Catwoman and Batman, and then Bruce and Selina, and just everything that happened with it, and then even the discussion about who is Catwoman, and is she a villain? The anti-hero. Is she doing this for adrenaline? And the fact that she is now finding love in this adrenaline world that she created with herself too, where she just falls, just a strong woman just swooning over a dude. I mean, that's always like an interesting thing, because obviously it's like, strong woman, independent, this, and then all of a sudden, this guy dressed in a bat costume. Wow.
He's kind of hot.
Yeah. And then even him, just like I said, having a break with fighting all these dudes, and then all of a sudden just having her, and then also kind of swooning over too.
And unlike Poison Ivy, not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Exactly. She has a level head, and everything. But Batman, if you're going to take off a woman's mask, ask first. Ask first. Okay. If you take anything off, okay, let that be the word of advice. No matter what, even if you had a costume party, ask before you start.
Consent is important.
That's a 100% right there. Okay. If you want to take off the mask, ask. Okay. Make sure. It's just, I think I had a good chuckle when he did that.
It just was so awkward. It was just like, dude, what are you doing?
Come on, man. Oh, it's good stuff. So there you go, guys. That is The Cat in the Claw Part 1. Next week, we'll be talking about Part 2. So make sure you watch that and spend some time with us. And this was definitely a fun episode to talk about. So go ahead and lead us on, Scott.
Well, of course, you can find me on Twitter, ScottDC27. You can find my podcast, the DC Film Squadcast, wherever podcasts can be found, including our brand new 2 hours before we got started review of The Suicide Squad. Of course, we're on Vero Facebook, and you can find the entire network of shows at squadcastmedia.com. I'm here every Saturday night, and I keep on promising it. It kept on getting kicked on the can. It is happening this week. Megan and I will be going back to Dune. So, yes.
I got to make sure I get that book done before the damn movie comes out, because saw the trailer before Suicide Squad. And so gorgeous. My God.
Gorgeous.
Did you see it too, like in the movie theater? Oh, my God.
I've seen it. I saw it for that, and before I saw it. So I've seen it twice in 2 weeks now on my IMAX screen. I'm just like,
man.
And the Wailing Woman.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, those speakers.
The sound, everything about that. I'm like, and it's funny too, because it seemed like, I'm really hoping it really finds that audience, because that trailer is so good. I mean, there's going to be some slow moments. There definitely is, because, there's a lot of political stuff. There's a lot of,
it's very thoughtful sci-fi.
Very thoughtful, philosophical, there's a lot that goes on to the story, but it also is going to, it's going to have a level of just gorgeous action, and just, I think it's going to.
Oh, cinematography. It's just going to be.
It's just every shot of that trailer is just gorgeous. I mean, art. My God. Just pure art. Anyways, guys, you guys know what to do. Hit that like, thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed, and hit that notification bell so you know when I'm doing this stuff. And then, of course, you want to become a member, hit the join button. And we got the Patreon and the Film Junkie Closet down below. We'll be here, of course. We were an hour later this time. Maybe we'll be at the normal bat time. And, of course, the same bat channel next week. We love you guys. Talk to you later.